Dr. Hana Kim pressed her face against the cold window of the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly in all directions, but today something was different. A dark shape floated in the distance, slowly growing larger as their ship moved closer. "What do you think it is?" asked Jiho, her research partner. He stood beside her, holding a cup of hot coffee that steamed in the recycled air. "I don't know," Hana said, "but it's old, really old." The Eternal Dawn was humanity's pride, a massive research ship that carried 3,000 people from 12 different alien species. Hana had worked on the ship for 5 years, studying strange things they found in deep space, but she had never seen anything like this. Captain Minho's voice crackled through the speakers. "All crew to stations. We're approaching the unknown vessel. Science teams prepare for investigation." Hana grabbed her equipment bag and hurried to the shuttle bay. The alien object was huge, bigger than their own ship. Its surface looked like black glass, smooth and perfect. No lights, no energy readings, nothing that showed life inside. "Scans show the ship is hollow," reported Yunji from the bridge. "There's something in the center, something big." Hana joined the exploration team. Captain Minho led them personally, along with 6 other crew members from different species. The Altarian officer Seung checked his weapons twice. The blue-skinned Vexen engineer Talos tested his tools. Everyone felt nervous. Their shuttle attached to the strange ship's side. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. "Atmosphere is breathable," Minho announced. "But stay in your suits anyway." They walked through corridors that seemed to be made of crystal. Their footsteps echoed strangely. Emergency lights on their suits cast long shadows on the walls. Everything felt wrong, like they were walking through a tomb. "The design is unlike anything in our databases," whispered Seung. His voice shook slightly. They found the central chamber after 20 minutes of walking. The room was enormous, with a high ceiling that disappeared into darkness. In the center stood a pillar of blue light, and inside the light was a figure. "Is that a person?" Jiho asked. The figure looked human-like, but different. She was tall and thin, with pale skin that seemed to glow. Her hair was white as snow, and she wore clothes that looked like they were made of starlight. She floated in the blue light with her eyes closed. "Life signs are weak but present," Talos reported, scanning with his equipment. "She's alive, but barely." "How long has she been here?" Minho asked. "The ship's age suggests thousands of years, maybe more." Hana stared at the sleeping figure. Something about her seemed sad, even in sleep, like she was dreaming of terrible things. "We should wake her up," Hana said. "Are you crazy?" Seung snapped. "We don't know what she is. What if she's dangerous?" "She's been sleeping for thousands of years," Hana replied. "She deserves to wake up." Captain Minho thought for a moment. "We'll try to wake her safely. Everyone stay back except Dr. Kim and Talos." Talos worked on the controls at the base of the pillar. Ancient symbols glowed as he touched them. The blue light began to fade slowly. The figure's eyes opened. They were silver, like mirrors, and they looked around the room with confusion. Then they filled with fear. The woman tried to speak, but only strange sounds came out. She reached toward them. "Don't touch her!" Seung shouted, but it was too late. Talos had been closest. Her fingertip brushed his hand for just a second. "The Vexen engineer screamed. His blue skin turned gray, then black. His body crumbled to dust in seconds. Nothing was left but his empty suit and the smell of death. Everyone stepped back in horror. The woman looked at her hand and began to cry. Silver. Tears ran down her face as she spoke in her strange language. "What did she do?" Jiho whispered. "She killed him," Shung said, raising his weapon. "She killed Talos just by touching him." The woman saw the weapon and raised her hands. She shook her head and spoke faster, pointing at her hands and then at Talos's empty suit. She was trying to explain something. "I don't think she meant to," Hana said. "She murdered our friend," Seong shouted. "Look at her face," Hana replied. "She's more scared than we are." The woman stepped forward. Everyone moved back except Hana. The woman pointed at herself and said a word that sounded like Yuki. Then she pointed at Hana and reached out her hand. "Don't let her touch you," Minho ordered. But Hana was already moving. She pulled off her glove and reached out. Their hands met. Everyone held their breath, waiting for Hana to die. Nothing happened. Yuki stared at their joined hands in shock. She touched Hana's arm, then her face. Still nothing. For the first time since waking up, Yuki smiled. "How is this possible?" Shung demanded. Hana felt warmth where Yuki touched her. Not death, but something else. Something that felt like hope. "I don't know," Hana said. "But I think she's been alone for a very long time." Yuki spoke again, faster now. She pointed at the empty suit, then at her hands, then at the walls around them. Her voice was full of pain. "She's trying to tell us something important," Hana said. Captain Minho made a decision. "We bring her back to the ship. Dr. Kim will be her contact person since she seems to be immune to whatever this is." "Sir, that's too dangerous," Seong protested. "Everything we do out here is dangerous," Minho replied. "But leaving her alone is worse. She's been sleeping in this tomb for thousands of years. Maybe it's time someone listened to what she has to say." As they prepared to leave, Hana noticed something. The crystal walls around them had begun to crack. Whatever power kept this ship together was failing now that Yuki was awake. They needed to hurry, and somehow, Hana knew that waking Yuki was just the beginning of something much bigger and much more dangerous than any of them could imagine. But as she looked at Yuki's grateful smile, she also knew they had done the right thing. No one should sleep alone in the dark for thousands of years, no matter how dangerous they might be. Yuki sat in the special room they made for her on the Eternal Dawn. The walls were thick metal, and she could only touch things that Hana brought her. Everyone else stayed far away. Hana visited every day with food and water. Yuki ate very little, like she had forgotten how to be hungry, but she always smiled when Hana came. "We're trying to understand your language," Hana said, sitting across from her. Between them was a table that Hana had touched first, making it safe. Yuki pointed at herself. "Yuki," she said clearly. "Yes, Yuki," Hana repeated. Then she pointed at herself. "Hana." "Hana," Yuki said, and her voice was soft like music. Day by day, they learned to talk to each other. Yuki was very smart and learned human words quickly, but every time she tried to explain where she came from, she would stop and look sad. 3 weeks after they found her, Yuki finally told her story. "My people," she said in broken human words, "we were called Netherians. We lived among the stars before your people, before most people." She touched the table and showed Hana pictures that appeared in the air above it. The images were made of light and showed beautiful cities floating in space. "We could touch life," Yuki explained. "Make things grow, make things heal. We were gardeners of the galaxy." The pictures changed to show Netherians working with other alien species, helping them build worlds and grow food. They looked like Yuki, but with different colored hair and eyes. "What happened to them?" Hana asked. Yuki's face became very sad. The swarm came. New pictures appeared. Dark shapes moving between stars, eating everything in their path. Planets turned gray and empty. Whole solar systems became nothing but dust. "The void swarm," Yuki whispered. "They eat life itself. They came from the dark spaces between galaxies, hungry for everything that lives." The pictures showed great battles. Netherian ships fighting against things that looked like giant black clouds with teeth. "We tried to fight them," Yuki continued, "but they were too strong. They ate our weapons, our ships, our power. So we decided to make a weapon they could not eat." "What kind of weapon?" Hana asked. "Me." The pictures showed Yuki, but younger, standing in a circle with other Netherians. They were doing something to her, changing her. "They made me into death," Yuki said, tears in her silver eyes. "I could kill anything by touching it. The swarm could not eat death, so I could destroy them." "Did it work?" "Yes. I killed them all, every single one." Yuki's voice became very quiet. "But I could not control it. I tried to hug my friends when the battle was over. They all died. My family died. Everyone I loved died." Hana reached across the table and took Yuki's hand. "I'm sorry. I tried to die too," Yuki said. "But death cannot kill death. So I went to sleep instead, hoping I would never wake up." Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, the scientists were arguing. "She's too dangerous," said Seung. "One mistake, and she could kill everyone on this ship." "But think of what we could learn from her," replied Jiho. "She's from a civilization that's millions of years old." Captain Minho listened to both sides. "What do our long-range sensors show?" he asked. Unji pulled up the star charts. "Strange readings at the edge of the galaxy. Something big is moving in the dark space beyond the outer stars. How big? Big enough to be a fleet, or something worse." Minho felt cold. "Could it be this swarm she talked about? We don't know. But if her story is true, and if they're coming back, then we need her help," Minho finished. Back in Yuki's room, Hana was asking important questions. "Why doesn't your power work on me?" Hana asked. Yuki tilted her head, thinking. "Your people are different. Most life in the galaxy is, how do you say, pure? Clean energy that lives forever if nothing kills it. And humans aren't? Humans carry death inside them already," Yuki said. "From the moment you are born, you are dying. Your bodies know they will end someday. This makes you immune to my touch. So we're protected because we're mortal? Yes. Death cannot kill what already accepts death." Hana thought about this. It was strange to think that being human, being weak and short-lived compared to the aliens, was actually a strength. "Yuki," she said, "if the swarm comes back, could you fight them again?" Yuki shook her head. "Not alone. Before I had my people to guide me, to help me control the power. Now I am alone, and the power is wild. I might kill everyone instead of just the swarm." "What if you weren't alone? What if I helped you?" "You would do that?" Yuki asked. "Even knowing how dangerous it is?" "Yes," Hana said without thinking. "Nobody should have to carry that much pain alone." That night, Captain Minho called a meeting of all the senior officers. Long-range sensors confirm it, Yunji reported. Something massive is moving toward our galaxy. If it's the Void Swarm, they'll reach the outer colonies in 6 months. Our weapons won't work against them, added the weapons officer. If they eat energy, then laser cannons and plasma torpedoes are useless. What about nuclear weapons? Someone asked. Maybe, Minho said. But Yuki says they can eat entire planets. I don't think we have enough nuclear weapons in the galaxy. So what? Do we do? Shung demanded. We learn, Minho replied. We learn everything Yuki can teach us about fighting the swarm, and we hope that humanity's strange immunity to her power is enough to help her control it. You're talking about turning Dr. Kim into a weapon, Shung said. I'm talking about giving Yuki a friend, Minho corrected. Someone who can touch her without dying. Someone who can help her remember that she's not a monster. In her room, Yuki stared out the small window at the stars. She had been alone for so long that she had forgotten what it felt like to have someone care about her. But Hana cared. Hana had risked her life just to hold her hand. For the first time in thousands of years, Yuki began to hope that maybe, just maybe, she could be more than just a weapon of death. Maybe she could be someone's friend. And if the swarm was really coming back, then the galaxy would need both death and friendship to survive. The alarm woke everyone on the eternal dawn at 3 in the morning. Red lights flashed in the hallways as people ran to their stations. What's happening? Hana asked as she rushed to the bridge. She had been sleeping in the chair next to Yuki's room, as she did every night now. Colony ships in the outer rim are going silent, Yunji reported. We lost contact with New Terra 2 hours ago. Before the signal cut out, they were screaming about shadows eating their sun. Captain Minho stared at the star charts. 3 solar systems had gone dark in the past day. It's starting. Yuki appeared in the doorway. She wasn't supposed to leave her room, but the guards had learned not to touch her by now. She looked at the charts and her face went pale. The swarm, she whispered. They're here. How long do we have? Minho asked. Depends on how hungry they are, Yuki said. Maybe weeks, maybe days. What about the other ships in the fleet? Can they fight? Yuki shook her head. Energy weapons will only make them stronger. Physical weapons might slow them down but not stop them. Seung stepped forward. Then we evacuate everyone we can and run. Run where? Yuki asked. They will eat this entire galaxy if no one stops them. Then you stop them, Seung said, pointing at her. That's what you were made for. I can't control it without help, Yuki replied. She looked at Hana. And I won't risk her life unless there's no other choice. Over the next 3 days, more colonies went silent. Refugee ships started arriving at human space stations, telling horrible stories. The swarm looked like black clouds that covered whole planets. They turned everything they touched into gray dust. The Altarian Defense Fleet tried to fight them, reported one refugee captain. 500 ships with the best weapons in the galaxy. The swarm ate them all in 10 minutes. Hana spent most of her time with Yuki, trying to understand how her power worked. When you touch something, what do you feel? Hana asked. Life, Yuki said. I feel their life energy, and then I take it away. And when you touch me, it's different. Your life energy is mixed with something else, something that protects it. Death, Hana said. Yes. Your people understand that life and death are partners, not enemies. Most species try to live forever and forget about death. But humans remember. They practiced together in a special training room. Yuki would touch different objects while Hana held her other hand. When Hana was touching her, Yuki could control exactly how much death she gave to something. She could kill a single flower while leaving the ones next to it alive. "It's working," Hana said excitedly. "You can control it when I'm here." "But what if something happens to you?" Yuki asked. "What if you get hurt and can't help me?" "Then we'll figure something else out," Hana said. "We're a team now." The news got worse each day. The swarm had eaten 12 star systems. Refugee fleets were streaming toward human space because human ships seemed to last longer against the swarm than alien ones. "Why aren't they attacking human colonies first?" Jiho wondered. "Maybe they don't like the taste," suggested someone else. But Yuki knew the real reason. Humans taste different to them, she explained. Life mixed with death is harder to digest. They'll eat human worlds last, when everything else is gone. Captain Minho made a decision. "We're going to test our theory. There's a small research station in the danger zone, Outpost 7. If it gets attacked, we'll go help." "Sir, that's suicide," Xiong protested. "Maybe," Minho said. "But sitting here doing nothing is definitely suicide." They didn't have to wait long. Outpost 7 sent a distress signal the next day. "3 swarm scouts approaching the station," the message said. "We have maybe an hour before they arrive. Please help us." The Eternal Dawn changed course immediately. As they got closer, they could see the swarm entities on the long-range sensors. They looked like black storms with lightning inside them. "Are you ready?" Hana asked Yuki. "No," Yuki said honestly. "But I have to try." They put on special space suits that would let them work together in the vacuum. Hana's suit was connected to Yuki's by a strong cable. "Remember," Hana said, "I'll be right here. You're not alone this time." They went out in a small fighter ship, heading straight for the swarm scouts. As they got closer, Hana could feel the temperature drop. The swarm entities seemed to suck the warmth out of everything around them. The first scout noticed their ship and moved toward them. It was huge, bigger than their fighter, with tentacles made of shadow that reached out to grab them. "Now," Hana said. Yuki reached out through the ship's manipulator arms. When her power touched the swarm entity, something amazing happened. Instead of feeding on her death energy, the creature started to shrivel up. Death was poison to something that only knew how to consume life. "It's working!" Hana shouted. But controlling the power was hard. Yuki started to shake as the death energy poured out of her. Hana grabbed her hand tighter. "Focus on my voice," Hana said. "You're not alone. I'm here with you." With Hana's help, Yuki destroyed all 3 swarm scouts. The research station was saved. But as they flew back to the Eternal Dawn, they got bad news. The main swarm fleet had detected the death of their scouts. They were changing course, heading straight for human space. "How many?" Captain Minho asked. "Thousands," Yunji reported. "Maybe tens of thousands." "And they're all coming here because we killed their scouts," Xiong said angrily. "Good," said Yuki. "Let them come." Everyone stared at her. "Don't you understand?" Yuki said. "We proved it works. Death can kill them, but I can't fight thousands of them alone." "What do you need?" Minho asked. Yuki looked at Hana, then at the captain. "More humans. If one human can help me control my power for 3 entities, then maybe more humans can help me fight thousands." "You're talking about putting human lives at risk," Xiong said. "We're all at risk anyway," Hana replied. "But this way, We have a chance to fight back. Minho thought about it. The swarm was coming whether they liked it or not. They could run and hide until they were all dead, or they could stand and fight. "Send a message to Earth Command," he said. "Tell them we need volunteers. Tell them we're going to save the galaxy." "And if no one volunteers?" Seung asked. Hana looked at Yuki and smiled. "They will. Humans don't like bullies, especially ones who eat entire planets." As the Eternal Dawn headed toward the main human fleet, Yuki felt something she hadn't felt in thousands of years. She felt hope, not just for herself, but for everyone. The swarm thought they could eat everything in the galaxy, but they had never fought anything like humans before. People who weren't afraid of death, who would risk everything to help a friend, even a friend who could kill them with a touch. The swarm was about to learn that mortality wasn't a weakness. It was the strongest power in the universe. The human fleet gathered at the edge of the solar system like angry wasps protecting their nest. 200 ships surrounded Earth, from massive battleships to small fighters. But Admiral Yunji knew it wouldn't be enough. Swarm contact in 6 hours, her communications officer reported. "They're coming fast." On the Eternal Dawn, Yuki stared at Earth through the observation window. It was a beautiful blue and green world, full of life. Soon it might be nothing but gray dust. "I'm scared," she told Hana. "Me too," Hana admitted. "But being scared doesn't mean we can't fight." Behind them stood 12 other humans who had volunteered to link with Yuki. Daiho was a former soldier who had fought in 3 wars. Nara was a young engineer who wanted to protect her little sister on Earth. Taijin was an old philosopher who said he'd lived long enough and wanted his death to mean something. Each volunteer had spent days training with Yuki and Hana. They learned to touch Yuki safely and help her control her power. It was dangerous. If any of them broke the link at the wrong time, Yuki's power might go wild and kill everyone. "Are you sure about this?" Captain Minho asked. "Once you link with her, there's no going back." "We're sure," Daiho said, "for all of them. Our families are on that planet. If this is how we protect them, then this is what we do." The volunteers put on the special suits that would connect them to Yuki. Cables ran from each suit to hers, creating a web of human connections. "Remember," Hana said, "Yuki isn't just a weapon. She's our friend. We're not controlling her. We're helping her." The first swarm ships appeared as dark spots against the stars. Then more spots. Then thousands of them, like a black cloud rolling toward Earth. "My God," whispered Admiral Yunji from her command ship. "There are so many." The alien refugees who had joined the human fleet started to panic. They had seen what the swarm could do to entire civilizations. "All ships, this is Admiral Yunji," came the announcement. "We know this looks bad. We know we're outnumbered. But today we're fighting for more than just our lives. We're fighting for the right of every living thing in this galaxy to exist. And we're not fighting alone." On the Eternal Dawn, Yuki and her human team prepared for battle. The ship had been modified with special arms that would let Yuki touch the swarm entities from a distance. "Here they come," Minho announced. The swarm hit the outer defense line like a black tsunami. Human ships fired missiles and energy weapons, but most of their shots just made the swarm entities bigger and stronger. "Phase 2, Admiral Yunji ordered. "All ships switch to physical weapons. Bullets, rockets, anything that doesn't use energy." The tide of battle changed slightly. Physical weapons could hurt the swarm, but there were just too many of them. "Eternal Dawn, you're clear for approach," Yunji radioed. "Give them hell!" Captain Minho flew the ship straight into the thickest part of the swarm, dark tentacles wrapped around the hull, trying to crush them. "Now!" Hana shouted. Yuki reached out with the ship's mechanical arms. The moment her power touched the swarm entities, they began to die. But there were dozens of them around the ship, and her power was spreading wild. "Focus on me," Daiho said, grabbing her left hand. "Remember, you're not alone." Nara took her right hand. "We're here with you." One by one, the other humans linked with her. The wild death energy became controlled, precise. Instead of killing everything around her, Yuki could target exactly what she wanted to destroy. They carved through the swarm like a sword of death. Everywhere the Eternal Dawn went, swarm entities died by the hundreds. But the main swarm force was heading for Earth. Thousands of the creatures were already entering the atmosphere, turning forests and cities to dust. "We have to get to the planet," Yuki said. Her voice was strained from using so much power. "The ship can't survive in that mess," Minho replied, looking at all the swarm entities surrounding Earth. "Then we don't use the ship," Hana said. "We go down in escape pods." "That's suicide," Sayung protested. "No," said Taejin quietly. "That's what humans do. We jump into impossible situations and figure out how to win." They loaded into 3 escape pods, Yuki and 4 humans in each one. As they fell through Earth's atmosphere, swarm entities attacked them like giant black birds. Yuki reached out from each pod, killing the attackers. But she was getting tired, and there were so many of them. "I can't keep this up much longer," she gasped. "Yes, you can," Hana said firmly, "because we won't let you fail." They crashed in what used to be a park in the middle of a city. Around them, the swarm was turning everything gray. People were running and screaming. "Spread out," Daiho ordered the volunteers. "Form a circle around Yuki. Make the link as strong as possible." They stood in the ruins of the city, 13 humans and 1 ancient alien, facing an army of creatures that had destroyed entire galaxies. "This is it," Yuki said. "If we lose here, they'll eat everything. Then we don't lose," Hana said simply. Yuki closed her silver eyes and reached out with her power, not just through her hands this time, but through her whole being. Death flowed out of her like invisible fire, guided and controlled by the humans, touching her. The swarm entities around them began to wither and die. But more kept coming. Thousands of them, all drawn to the source of the death energy that was killing their kind. "They're all coming here," Nara said, looking at the dark sky full of approaching enemies. "Good," said Taejin. "Let them come to us. It's easier than hunting them down one by one." The battle raged for hours. Yuki's power swept out in waves, killing everything the swarm sent at them. But she was getting weaker, and some of the human volunteers were starting to collapse from exhaustion. "I can't," Yuki started to say. "Don't you dare give up," Hana interrupted. "Look around you. Look at what we're protecting." Behind them, human civilians were evacuating the city. Parents carrying children, elderly people helping each other, teenagers forming rescue teams to help trapped people. Even in the face of total destruction, humans were helping each other. "This is why we fight," Hana said. "Not just to kill the swarm, but to protect this. To protect the idea that life matters, that people matter." Yuki opened her eyes and saw the humans around her. They were tired, scared, and some were injured. But none of them had let go of her. None of them had run away. "You're right," she said. "Let's finish this." She reached deeper into her power than ever before. Death energy flowed out of her like a river, sweeping across the entire planet. Every swarm entity on Earth began to die at the same time. But the effort was too much. Yuki collapsed, and the human volunteers fell with her. "Is it over?" Daiho asked weakly. In the sky above them, the last of the swarm entities were turning to dust and blowing away in the wind. The black clouds were gone. The sun was shining again. "It's over," Hana said, holding Yuki's unconscious form. "We won." But even as she said it, she wondered what the cost had been, and whether Yuki would ever wake up again. Yuki slept for 3 days. The doctor said her body had used too much energy and needed time to recover. Hana sat by her bed the whole time, holding her hand and waiting for her to wake up. "The galaxy is safe," Hana whispered to the sleeping figure. "The swarm is gone. You did it." On the 3rd day, Yuki's silver eyes opened. "Hana?" she said weakly. "I'm here," Hana replied, squeezing her hand gently. "How do you feel?" "Different," Yuki said, sitting up slowly. "Something has changed." She looked at her hands. They still looked the same, but when she touched the metal bed frame, nothing happened. No death energy, no destruction. "My power," she whispered. "It's gone." "Not gone," said a voice from the doorway. Dr. Jiho walked in carrying a tablet full of test results. "Changed." "What do you mean?" Hana asked. "We've been studying what happened during the battle," Jiho explained. "When Yuki used all her power at once, something incredible occurred. She didn't just kill the swarm, she transformed them." He showed them recordings from around the galaxy. Where swarm entities had died, new life was growing. Plants and animals that had never existed before, all of them somehow connected to both life and death. "The swarm creatures weren't evil," Jiho continued. "They were just hungry. They had forgotten how to create life, so they could only consume it. But when Yuki's death power mixed with human mortality, it taught them something new." "What did it teach them?" Yuki asked. "That death and life work together. That ending one thing can create something new. The swarm learned to be gardeners instead of destroyers." Over the following weeks, reports came in from across the galaxy. The swarm entities that had survived the battle were now helping rebuild the worlds they had damaged. They were planting new forests, creating new oceans, and helping species that were almost extinct to grow strong again. "They're still the same creatures," explained Admiral Yunji during a meeting, "but now they understand balance. They take some life to create other life, instead of just taking everything." Yuki spent her time learning to live without her death power. It was strange at first. She had been a weapon for so long that she didn't know how to be anything else. "What will I do now?" she asked Hana one day as they walked through the rebuilt city. "Whatever you want," Hana said. "You're free now. You can choose your own life." "I want to help people," Yuki said, "like you helped me." "Then let's help people together." They became ambassadors, traveling to different worlds and helping species learn to work with the transformed swarm. It wasn't always easy. Many people were still afraid of anything connected to the creatures that had almost destroyed the galaxy. But humans were different. They welcomed the new partnerships with the swarm, because humans understood that sometimes you had to work with dangerous things to create something better. Daiho became the head of a new military unit that worked with swarm entities to protect peaceful worlds. Nara designed ships that could use both human technology and swarm abilities. Taijin wrote books about the philosophy of life and death working together. All the human volunteers from the battle were changed by their connection to Yuki. They lived longer than normal humans, and they could sense life energy in ways that helped them heal sick people and damaged environments. "We're like bridges," Hana explained to Captain Minho one day, "between the old galaxy and the new one." 5 years after the battle, Yuki and Hana were visiting a planet that was being rebuilt by humans and transformed swarm working together. What had once been a dead world was now covered in forests and rivers. "Do you ever miss it?" Hana asked. "Having the power to destroy things?" "No," Yuki said without hesitation. "Destruction was never what I wanted. I wanted to protect people. Now I can do that without killing anyone." She touched a small tree they were standing under. Instead of death, her touch brought growth. The Aosai tree became taller and stronger, its leaves turning a brighter green. "Besides," she added with a smile, "I have something better than power now." "What's that?" "Friends, family, a purpose that makes me happy instead of sad." They watched as human. Children played with small swarm entities that looked like friendly shadow puppets. The children weren't afraid because they had grown up in the new galaxy, where death and life were partners instead of enemies. "What do you think will happen next?" Hana asked. "I don't know," Yuki said, "but I'm not worried about it anymore. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." In the distance, a group of alien refugees was arriving at the planet. They had come from the far edge of the galaxy, where old conflicts were being solved by the new partnerships between species and transformed swarm. "Come on," Hana said, taking Yuki's hand. "Let's go welcome them." As they walked toward the newcomers, Yuki thought about how much had changed. She had spent thousands of years as a weapon of death, alone and afraid of her own power. Now she was a teacher and healer, surrounded by friends who had chosen to risk everything to help her. The galaxy was different now, too. Instead of species fighting each other or running from unstoppable threats, everyone was learning to work together. The threat of the swarm had forced different civilizations to cooperate, and the solution had come from the most unlikely source: humans, who were supposed to be weak and primitive. But humans had shown everyone something important. They had shown that accepting death didn't make you weak. It made you strong enough to face any challenge. And it made you wise enough to know that the best way to fight for life was to work together, no matter how different you were from each other. "Thank you," Yuki said quietly as they approached the refugee ships. "For what?" Hana asked. "For touching me," Yuki said. "For being the first person in thousands of years who wasn't afraid to hold my hand." "That's what friends do," Hana replied. "They hold on even when it's scary." The refugee ships landed and families emerged into the sunlight of their new world. Human volunteers were already there to help them, along with transformed swarm entities that had once been their enemies. Yuki and Hana joined the welcome committee, ready to help more people find new homes and new hope. In the new galaxy they had helped create, everyone could find a place where they belonged. And for the first time in her very long life, Yuki knew exactly where she belonged too.